Welcome back to the Naked Proverbs podcast, where we unclothe the truth about Black love, family, and marriage. My name is Nik Scott, one of your hosts, and as always, I am here with my husband.
What's going on? It's your boy, Rich.
At the start of every episode of the Naked Proverbs, we have to remind our listeners that we are not professional, trained, or licensed therapists or counselors. We've been married for a very long time, and we use the Naked Proverbs to share our opinions, our advice, and our experience. If you haven't already, make sure you follow the Naked Proverbs on whatever platform you listen to your podcast on. And if you like what you hear, show us your love and support by giving us a 5-star rating on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening on.
As always, we like to thank our listeners. Our fan base is growing, and we appreciate you tuning in week after week to hear what we have to say about marriage, love, and family.
Did y'all see Queen and Slim and Queen?
It's called Queen and Slim.
Oh, well, did y'all see it? We saw it.
And you know what? My boy from Get Out has had a transition. The very first movie I saw him in, I don't even know his name.
Daniel something very hard to pronounce.
I got the whole Google in front of me. Ain't that what you always say?
Yeah, you do have the whole internet.
Hold
it's
on.
like Daniel Kugalia.
You can't just make it up.
Kaluuya. I bet you that's right. It's Daniel.
Kaluuya?
I didn't say Kaluuya. Kaluuya. It's very interesting spelling, and I'm sure it's an interesting pronunciation. And I'm sorry, Daniel, that I'm butchering your name. However, we have supported every major film that you have been in so far.
Man, it's Daniel Kaluuya.
I told you.
I've only seen 3 movies Daniel's been in. The first one was Get Out. And he was obsessed with this white woman, right?
Yeah, he was.
Then, the next movie he was in, Wakanda.
Forever.
Yeah, that's my movie right there, boy. That's the future. What I saw in that movie was he had a black woman as his wife, but he was still a traitor. And he still didn't really understand the power he had next to him. He wasn't listening to her. He wasn't down for her. He was being an idiot. Matter of fact, he tried to have his boys go up and fight her girls. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
But finally, my boy Daniel has seen the light.
He's seen the light.
If you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I am going to say he finally held down a black woman to the end, from the beginning to the end, and I loved it. You know, the ending was what I expected, but I have not seen very many movies where they allow black men to just love black women and allow black women to love black men. So for me, I love that aspect of the movie where they just had this relationship that was, you know, built around some craziness, but it was growing and blossoming, and who knows where it could have led if it was a real life story. But I like that. I like Daniel's progression in life.
There were a lot of things in the movie, and I don't think I'm going to be as polite as my husband and not spoil the movie for those of you that haven't seen it.
Oh, don't ruin it.
Listen, if you haven't seen the movie, just skip this part, because there's some things that I really have to say about the movie, and it might be considered spoiler alerts. Now,
Spoiler alert.
Now you've been warned. So if you want to continue listening and you do plan to see the movie, know that a lot of what I'm about to say might just spoil it for you. So the first thing that comes to mind when I'm thinking about the movie, and I did enjoy the movie, I thought it was a great love story. It's not necessarily about what you think it's about. To me, it was a great love story. It was a great love story about 2 black people who were down for each other, regardless of the circumstances that they happened to come to be together. They held each other down through thick and thin and unconditionally. And it was a great depiction of not just black love, but to me, what a marriage should look like.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to shoot people for me.
First of all, she didn't shoot anybody.
Oh,
I'll
shoot people for you.
Yeah. And the
yeah, you seen that in the preview, so I ain't ruined nothing.
And the crazy thing is the characters, Queen and Slim, they reminded me of us.
Man, from the get-go, when they were sitting talking at like scene 1, the first thing I said was, that was you and that was me. Like, when we were young, I'm telling you, we were Queen and Slim.
It's so funny. I mean,
Like,
from the church
everything.
boy
Yep.
to
the attitude, to trusting everybody, to not trusting nobody, to having these deep, dark secrets about your life, to feeling like you need to be responsible for your family and make sure they know everything is okay. I mean, it was for real, like looking in a mirror.
It was crazy. And I don't know how many other black couples have that same story.
Right.
Because it's not a coincidence, right? Like, we're not the only two people that's seen this movie and we're like, oh my gosh, that's us. Like, literally, that's us. So I wonder how many black couples actually are like that, where, you know, the guy in the movie is actually the husband in the relationship and the woman in the movie is actually the female in the relationship. But there were some interesting things in the movie that some people might overlook, like the whole bond of military people. The uncle was crazy as hell. And even though he was crazy, it was because he had been in the war, whatever. But he was able to call on somebody who he hadn't seen or talked to, who lives many states away, to help out his family member. And he trusted and knew that it was going to happen no matter what.
And that's real life. Like, someone that has served in the military, I can tell you now, there are friendships that I haven't spoken to some of these people in 15 years, 20 years since we initially joined. But I have no doubt I could call them, any of them. I mean, I've reconnected with some people that were at my first duty station when I was 18, 19 years old. I am in my 40s, and we've reconnected from Facebook, and we've gotten on the phone like nothing happened. Like, we didn't miss a beat. And I know that people I've served with, I feel exactly like her uncle did. I could call any of them up and say, hey, this is what I need. Doesn't matter what it is, and as long as it's legal. And a few of them, it could be illegal. And
that was illegal what they did.
I know some of my boys, if it was illegal, they'd still have my back.
Yeah, they were definitely operating through the bond of the military and serving together to, what do you call it with the fugitives? Like, they were fugitives and they were abating and abiding, whatever it is. I don't know.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
But they were helping out the criminals, and that was illegal.
Crimes themselves.
Yes, they were.
Yep.
Another thing that I thought was real interesting about the movie was just the way that they even came to be. Like, she was bored, basically, and decided to go on this date, and he must have fell in love at first sight or something, because
it can happen. I fell in love with you at first sight.
That's what you say, but I don't know if I believe that.
You don't have to believe it.
Okay.
I know it to be true.
That's another topic. He must have fell in love at first sight because he was so protective of her. When she got shot at the very beginning, he was like, get off her, leave her alone, and ended up shooting the police officer to protect her.
And I think for me, that was probably one of the scenes that I like the most, because we very rarely see black men protecting black women. Even, like I said, in Wakanda, there was a moment where they had black men fighting black women, right? So even in our, story of our past, everybody's that is the black movie. If you don't know about Wakanda, you ain't really black, but you might lose your black card.
How are you taking people's black cards away?
Because if you have not seen Wakanda, you don't deserve to have a black card.
Oh my goodness!
But that's not the movie we're talking about. My point, though, is that there are very few movies out there where you don't see black men beating a black woman or doing something negative or standing by watching her be abused. So to me, that was kind of that defining moment of, ooh, I'm really going to like this movie, because they actually allowed this black man to defend his black queen to the point that he killed a police officer, and that's kind of, in the previews. So I haven't spoiled anything. But that was deep to me, because that is not shown very often, even though in real life, it does exist. Like, black men do stand up for our queens and protect them and speak up and try to make sure that they're okay. But society doesn't get to see that because it's always portrayed in everything as us being the abuser or us just watching the abuse happen and not doing anything. So I really appreciated that piece.
And let's talk a little bit about the symbolism in the movie. Like, in that scene, and for the majority of the movie, she was wearing all white. All white. And we know white is the color of purity, right? And then she gets shot in her leg. So there's now a hole in her leg, and she's bleeding all over the white cloth that she was wearing. And because there was that balance or that fine line between religion and almost not religion, whatever the opposite of religion is, I don't know.
Not religion.
Thank you. So religion and not religion, that symbolism of the all white with the blood-stained clothing and the way that she even got injured, it was all very conflicting to me. It was like, here's the good. This woman is pure and white and wearing this white, and then she's tarnished all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm totally confused.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to confuse you.
Symbolisms and the white. I mean, there was a white man in the movie.
There were plenty of white men in the movie. There was actually a good white man in the movie, and they ended up putting him in the trunk of the car and leaving him there.
There was also the good white man and his wife.
See, were they good, though? Because at the end of the movie, I don't understand how the black guy knew where to find them people if the man gave him the address of a specific address to his friend. And they show up to this specific address to this friend. And then
they didn't show up to the specific address. If you recall, they were just sitting on a road.
So why didn't they ever make it to the address?
See, that's part of that. You're just thinking too deeply. It's just a movie. It's all it is. Oh. It's for entertainment.
Well, another part of the movie that's real, I guess it's just real, is that all black folks ain't down for each other. And this movie made it clear that A, black people stay in your place, and B, the authorities and the powers that be is always going to be able to divide and conquer you.
All it takes a little bit of that green money.
And it was a whole lot of green money.
About $500,000.
But even still,
that ain't a lot, though.
It's not a lot.
It's chump change. I ain't gonna lie to you. Check my bank.
It's not a lot. But the fact that this movie used this as a platform, it's like, oh yeah, we getting everybody hype up. We got the, what they call them, police killers. The cop killer is what the man said. We got these cop killers, and then everybody's hype supporting them, and then at the very end it's another black person that ends up selling them out.
I think that was just meant to be reality.
It is reality.
It wasn't supposed to be like, little Hollywood in there. That's reality. Black people sell black people out quicker than anybody else, I would imagine.
I agree. Black folks, stay in your place. It was a good movie. Go see it if you want to see it. Sorry if we ruined it for you, but stay in your place. And love on your black men and women's. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Naked Proverbs podcast. We want you to truly have a happy marriage. We want you to continue to thrive in your marriages and indulge in your spouses on a regular basis. Don't forget to follow the Naked Proverbs on whatever podcasting platform you listen to your podcasts on. And we will talk to y'all in the next one.
Peace.